They live among us. On the surface, completely normal. Beneath, deadly.
Cunning, manipulative, users and abusers of other people.
The smile of a suburban mom hides the soul of a killer.
You can't ever say never. The unimaginable did happen. My friend killed her husband.
The life of the party has a secret life at home.
Who would suspect anybody that nice of murder?
And who would suspect two little old ladies of a monstrous crime?
I've never worked a case where human beings were housed and cultivated and fed for the singular purpose of being executed.
These are deadly women in disguise, their murderous thoughts hidden behind the mask. Hollywood, California. Movies and money lure dreamers chasing a glamorous life. But in the back alleys of Tinseltown, dreams turn to despair. Among the destitute, a ray of hope. Two elderly women tend to the homeless. Helen Golay, age 73, and Olga Rutterschmidt, 75.
They made them feel warm, secure, comfortable, fed, clothed.
But there's a sinister side to these good Samaritans.
They felt no guilt or shame for what they did, which enabled them to do it so well and for so long.
Helen and Olga have no charity and no mercy. They are cold, ruthless killers.
This goes beyond homicide. This goes beyond just a simple murder.
Two old ladies. Just doesn't compute.
It's just almost, beyond belief that these two women would be doing this.
No one would suspect them of anything. A fatal mistake. June 2005. A broken body lies in a dark alleyway, victim of a hit and run.
It was a man who was hit by a motor vehicle in Los Angeles by accident.
Insurance investigator Ed Webster has seen these tragic accidents many times.
There's nothing at first blush that would make one think it was suspect.
It looks like 50-year-old Kenneth McDavid was run over while changing a bike tire. A cruel, terrible death.
When a tire hits the chest, it's going to crush the chest cavity, and it's going to cause the ribs to break and to puncture the lungs, and it's going to cause massive internal bleeding in both chest cavities.
Ed Webster can see something odd about the crime scene.
The tire was not flat, so it wouldn't require changing, and there were no tools around. It was just his bike.
Also unusual, McDavid is lying down when he is hit.
Whenever a body is found on a roadway and appears to have been run over, I always ask the question, why were they laying there on the roadway? Were they injured prior to being dumped on the roadway and then run over? Were they taking some drugs or alcohol, something that impaired their judgment?
Ed Webster follows a hunch and starts digging. Soon, he hits a lead. Kenneth McDavid is a vagrant. 2 years ago, he moved off the streets into an apartment.
And in fact, he lived in an apartment that was rented by Helen Golay, and she was taking care of him for 2 years.
Helen Golay, one of the two nice ladies from the soup kitchen. They housed and fed McDavid, and they're the sole beneficiaries of his life insurance.
There was absolutely no reason to expect that they would, under the normal course of events, outlive this man who was healthy, 20 years younger than them.
Even stranger, Helen and Olga have insured Kenneth McDavid for $1 million.
They're making an investment, and the only way that they can collect on that investment is if this man dies. So it's either a homicide or they are the luckiest two women in the world.
LAPD Detective Tennis Kilcoyne is also suspicious, uncovering more policies in McDavid's name.
So slowly we start getting information from these insurance companies, and we start learning that there's more and more policies on Kenneth McDavid, with Helen and Olga as the beneficiaries.
All I need is your signature.
Altogether, the policies add up to nearly $6 million. Helen is listed as McDavid's business partner. Olga is fiancée. The women are arrested for insurance fraud. But that's only the tip of the iceberg.
We've got two little old ladies. They're involved in this insurance scam. These guys are ended up dead. Is that we're missing something. We're missing a big piece of the puzzle here.
That piece could be the car that ran down Kenneth McDavid.
There was a surveillance video on the corner, and they actually had captured the vehicle going down the alley.
CCTV vision helps connect the car to Helen Golay. The police forensic team go to work.
For 2 days, they went over this vehicle with a fine-tooth comb. They put it up on a rack. They did a lot of different things. The lab found some old, dark spots under the vehicle that tested positive for blood.
Does that look like blood?
What most people don't realize is that bits of hair and skin and clothing and blood can be deposited up on the inner nooks and crannies of the vehicle. It's very difficult to destroy DNA.
Ultimately, they called me a week or two later and said it was positive to Mr. McDavid's DNA. And it was at that time that everything started snowballing.
It's damning evidence. Two little old ladies are two little old killers.
These women were sociopaths. They were out for personal gain at the expense and abuse of others.
Then insurance investigator Ed Webster takes a shocking phone call.
The traffic cops asked me if I had ever heard of Paul Vados. And then he told me that the same two women had claimed the body of Paul Vados, and Vados was also killed in a hit-and-run accident several years before.
This isn't a one-time murder. It's a business. On the streets of Los Angeles, police arrest some unusual suspects. Two little old ladies wanted for murder.
Two 70-some-odd-year-old women who, for all intents and purposes, could be your grandmother.
It just defied anything. At the age of the perpetrators, frankly, the gender of the perpetrators, the helplessness of the victims, the amount of money involved, the cold-blooded nature of the killings. I mean, it had everything.
Helen Golay and Olga Rutterschmidt seem to take a special interest in the homeless. But when one homeless man ends up dead in a hit and run, police get curious.
We had really put a nice little puzzle together. We found the vehicle that they used. We connected Mr. McDavid's DNA to the undercarriage of the vehicle.
LAPD also discover a motive. Helen and Olga have insured Kenneth McDavid for nearly $6 million.
They proved to us what they really are, just common thugs.
These two seniors, aged in their 70s, have killed before. An LAPD officer makes a shocking connection. 6 years earlier, another homeless man was found dead in a Hollywood back alley.
Mr. Vados was killed in an almost identical fashion. Run over in an alley, dark, in the middle of the night, appeared homeless, and two little old ladies that come looking for reports and information. Sure enough, when the file was pulled, the same two little old ladies were identified as Helen and Olga.
Now come on, this is going to be your new home.
The truth is unthinkable.
Over here.
Victims are being raised like cattle for the slaughter.
So comfortable. You're going to have food. This is
I've worked a
your
lot of
place.
cases. A lot of cases where people have done horrible things. I've never worked a case where human beings were housed and cultivated and fed and groomed for the singular purpose of being executed.
Tea for Ken. Sure, milk and sugar, Ken?
The men are groomed for 2 years to beat California's state insurance law.
Under the law, life insurance policies are difficult to contest on the company's part after 2 years.
For LA Times reporter Paul Pringle, few stories horrify like the hit-and-run grannies.
One of the most chilling things about this case is that Helen and Olga could have a relationship with these victims for so long, a close relationship, even a caring relationship, and apparently never come close to bonding with these people, and then to murder them in cold blood.
Helen Golay's appetite for money knows no bounds.
Helen was pretty well off and had a lot of real estate investments and lived in a high-end neighborhood and was doing very well for herself. She didn't need to do this.
Her concerned charity worker act is just a mask. She actually despises those less fortunate.
Helen looked down on anyone that wasn't an individual of wealth and substance. They didn't matter. And if someone doesn't matter, it's certainly easier to kill them.
Olga was always striving to be more like Helen and try to impress Helen. But Olga was just as culpable and just as evil as Helen.
Together, Helen and Olga's callous, cruel natures only feed off each other.
When they hooked up with each other, they validated each other's needs to rip people off and to hurt people. Helen and Olga exhibited no guilt, no remorse, no regret for what they did. That's classic sociopathy.
But how can 70-year-old women force much younger men to lie down and be run over? Police find the answer at Helen's house.
We found a vial with crushed up mixture of prescription medication that, according to the coroner's office, would knock you out, or knock out a grown man. This was found in Mr. McDavid's system during the autopsy.
Knocked out, the men are crushed to death under the wheels of Helen's car. It's the final act in a long, disturbing murder plan.
Helen and Olga were convicted of first-degree murder in both killings, been sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole.
Helen Golay and Olga Rutterschmidt have their mask of kindness stripped away. Kind old ladies, are cold, monstrous killers.
The motive was purely money. They had no personal interest or satisfaction in killing these people.
This case is off the charts. I keep coming back to that 2-year period that they had to sort of ranch these victims. Never bonding, no empathy, no sympathy. As soon as the clock ran out, they killed them.
Gun Barrel City, Texas, 1982. Jimmy Don Beats unwinds after a hard day working at the fire department.
Jimmy Don Bates was a wonderful man. He was loved by so many people.
I'm Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy.
Nice to meet you, Billy. Just an old country boy that everybody had a lot of respect for.
Also at the bar, a lively waitress named Betty Lou Barker. Betty Lou takes a shine to the laid-back Texan.
He thought she was really a lot of fun and a very cute person. And so he married her after knowing her for about 6 months.
But Betty Lou's sassy charm is just a mask. Jimmy Don Beats is being quietly stalked by a black widow.
In the world of homicide, a black widow is the term given to a woman who chooses a mate, marries, and kills him for profit.
Oh, Betty was fun. She was so cute. She was a sharp dresser. She was a great dancer, and she was really a good time.
For crime writer Irene Pence, Betty Lou Beats is a compelling character. Married at 15, she has 6 children.
After she had the 6th child, she thought that staying home with a lot of children was not fun. And so that's when she started going to the bars and meeting other men.
Betty Lou's bar hopping is too much for her husband of 18 years. He files for divorce. In the following years, men and money come and go. But Jimmy Don Beats looks like he might be the real thing. He's her 5th husband in 10 years.
He had been divorced for a few months, and he was looking towards an early retirement and didn't want to be retired and alone.
Early in the marriage, Betty Lou has a special request. She wants a wishing well built in the front yard.
How long is this well gonna take, Jimmy?
Black guy, woman. It's done when it's done.
Her devoted husband is happy to help.
He showed such love for her, and she was so sweet to him.
That sweet nature is all a facade.
Betty Lou was capable of showing people her good face, the people that mattered to her. She would smile at them, make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah, I hope so.
Who would suspect anybody that nice of murder?
Make a wish.
Jimmy Don Beats is in serious danger.
Damn, woman.
He has just dug his own grave. Jimmy Don Beats is a down-to-earth Texan fire captain.
Sounds like a proposition.
Married to new wife Betty Lou, he's just a few years from retirement.
I think everybody at that time in the department knew Jimmy Don Beats.
A chaplain at the Dallas Fire Department, Denny Burris worked alongside Jimmy Don.
Very responsible individual who had one quality that seemed to rise above a lot of other people in common sense.
But common sense isn't enough. to see through the mask of a killer.
Black widows don't have too much difficulty putting on a mask and appearing to be an ordinary person to everyone around them. Sociopaths can do that quite well. They don't hear voices. They're not delusional. They're not killing for fun or for sex. It's a cold-blooded event.
Betty Lou Beets is a lady with many secrets. Her last husband, Doyle Wayne Barker, hasn't been seen for a year. Because he's buried in Betty Lou's backyard.
She told her daughter that she really wanted to get rid of him. And so the daughter said, well, divorce him. And she said, and then I'd lose the trailer, and winter's coming. Well, I would be out here in the cold.
You know what, Shirley? I'm gonna kill Wayne.
And so she tried to get her daughter to help her bury Wayne Barker.
Betty's daughter, Shirley, is shocked. But her mother is a strong woman. Betty Lou will do the dirty work. Her daughter just has to help clean up.
Betty's state of mind was calm, cool, and collected.
Good riddance, Wayne.
These were not crimes of passion.
Within a year, Betty Lou has a new husband and a new reason to kill.
With a husband, if he had money, she could get it by murder him, then she would murder him.
Well, go on, make a wish.
Oh, making a wish.
He was probably the wealthiest of her husbands. He had a house that was all paid for, a boat that was all paid for. There was a lot of monetary gain to kill Jimmy Don.
6 months into their marriage, Jimmy Don goes missing.
I received a call that morning that Jimmy Don had apparently drowned in an accident out at Cedar Creek Lake.
His fishing boat is found drifting on the lake, empty. While the search goes on for days, no body is found. All that remains is an air of suspicion.
They found it very strange that Jimmy Don turned up missing in the first place because he was a very careful boater. He didn't take any chances.
Betty didn't act normally for a grieving widow.
She made the statement, if they don't find Jimmy Don, when can I expect to begin receiving benefits? For me, it was like just kind of aghast that she would even ask something like this. This is only the third day that we've been out there.
Is it gonna be big enough, Jimmy?
It'll be big enough.
Jimmy Don Beets is not at the bottom of the lake.
It's gonna be beautiful. You wait. Let's finish.
After 4 days building Betty's wishing well, he falls into bed, exhausted. The Black Widow moves in for the kill.
Bye-bye, Jimmy.
This time, Betty's son Bobby is tangled in her deadly web.
Go, Bobby.
She has her well,
Go there, Jimmy.
and now she has her wish. A husband buried beneath it.
Bye-bye, Jimmy. Bobby? Bobby?
Bobby was so afraid that something was going to happen to his mother, knowing now she had actually killed her husband.
There, is that his medicine? Is that his color medicine?
Betty gets Bobby to finish the crime.
It's to put in the boat, Bobby, okay? It's to put in the boat.
He takes Jimmy Don's fishing license, his glasses, and his heart pills,
What's the fishing line?
puts them in his boat, and sets it adrift on the lake. years pass. Jimmy Don's disappearance is still a mystery. Then Betty Lou finds a new man and jokes about having buried her own husband.
I guess the old saying, your sins are going to always find you out. Well, they did in Betty Lou's case, and it came as a result of just a slip of the tongue.
Betty Lou's new boyfriend also has loose lips. He takes the news straight to the police.
The person that I spoke to informed me that Betty Lou actually told him that there was a body buried under her porch. So that was my first solid clue.
Detective Rick Rose pays Betty Lou Beets a visit. Underneath the wishing well, he finds a body. It's missing fire captain Jimmy Don Beets. Out back, another surprise. The body of Doyle Wayne Barker.
Most people don't expect a woman to kill two husbands in the same house with the same gun over a period of 3 years.
I don't think Betty thought for a minute that she would get caught. The boldness of burying the body of someone you killed on your own property, no, she did not think she was going to get caught.
Careful, Bobby. All right, go
Arrested for murder, Betty Lou will do anything to save herself.
Oh, for God's sake, Bobby! Hopeless boy. Sorry, Mama.
Betty put Betty first, and that's the bottom line.
She turns on her own children, trying to blame them for the murders.
I don't think she cared. I don't think she felt any empathy for her victims, nor did she have any empathy for what her kids might have been feeling involving them in this.
The trial jury finds Betty Lou guilty of 2 murders.
My visit with her at the trial is something that I don't think in my mind's eye will I ever forget. I don't know how you can describe the eyes of that lady. Her stare was just a glaring type of stare. And her eyebrows weren't raised, but they were just staring.
Betty Lou's deadly past is finally exposed. After arguing with her second husband, she shoots him.
She shot him at least twice. And she explained to the police how he was trying to attack her. And they always questioned why the bullets were in the back of his head.
He survives. Husband number 3 also has a lucky escape.
She tried to run him over with her car. He managed to jump behind a van and saved his life.
Her next 2 husbands end up buried in her yard.
Go there, Jimmy.
But Jimmy Don Beets will be Betty's final victim. On February 24th, 2000, Betty Lou Beets is executed by lethal injection.
Most of the homicides I worked were generally spontaneous. They happened because of an event. Somebody, got mad, angry, and committed the act. Those are different types of mindsets. And in her case, the mindset was purely premeditation and planning. She was a cold-blooded killer.
At a resort in Maryland, a wife is poisoning her husband. In the middle of a crowded room. This murder is just theater.
It was Valentine's weekend, and we had a special murder mystery party going on.
Enjoying the mystery dinner, Kim Rico and her husband, Steve. The play is called The Bride Who Cried. guests are caught up in the tale of a new bride killing her groom. But there is one other woman in the room with her mind set on murder.
Most people who want out of an unhappy marriage get a divorce. That wasn't good enough for Kim.
It's the last thing you expect to get a phone call in the middle of the night. When the phone rings in the middle of the night, you know it's not anything good.
My wife answered the phone, kind of roused me a little bit and said that there was an incident in Steve and Kim's room. Kim's requesting that you come down there as soon as possible.
It's disturbing news for Mike and Maureen Miller. They're close friends with Steve and Kim Rico. There's been a fire at the resort. Elaine Phillips had just finished work for the night.
A woman was coming into the door, going to the front desk.
Yeah, anyway. Sunday.
And she mentioned that her room was on fire.
My room is on fire.
The woman is Kim Rico.
She was very calm. She wasn't talking whatsoever. It wasn't like a shaking or a shock. It was just calm.
Oh, what college are you in?
Staff leap into action.
Come on. Let's go.
Yeah, come on.
Nothing like this has ever happened before.
As soon as we got outside, there was a smell in the air. You could tell there was something was burning somewhere.
Oh, God.
I could see his face that he was burnt, that it was beyond anything, and I knew he was dead at that point.
The charred body belongs to Steve Rico, aged 35.
Steve was my best friend since 7th grade. Corny as it sounds, we're kind of each other's brother that we didn't have.
Distraught, the Millers rushed to check on Steve's wife, Kim.
I didn't expect her to be anything less than just an hysterical woman whose husband just passed away. She was the exact opposite, just exact opposite.
On the day he dies, Steve Rico is desperate to save his marriage.
Kim's just laid it on him that, I want a divorce.
A few months earlier, Mike took a troubling phone call from his good friend.
He was upset, crying. I could hear his voice quivering. He didn't want to lose her. That was his life.
The Millers had introduced Steve and Kim.
Kim was a very gregarious type personality. She was very outgoing, very friendly. Everybody liked her.
My wife set up a double date. He was kind of smitten by her. He thought she was attractive. Just basically hit it off, and from that point on, started dating.
Soon they marry and have a daughter. 9 years on, Steve is still in love.
Can you help me?
What are you, baby?
But Kim is no longer the bright, outgoing woman he married. She is cold and distant. Kim's true Valentine is not Steve Rico. It's a 23-year-old Marine sergeant named Brad. She's having an affair.
Kim wrote Brad a letter the day that she left for her weekend with her husband about how much she loved him and couldn't wait to spend her future with him.
Steve has no idea about his wife's betrayal.
She was bound and determined that this murder was going to happen no matter what.
This suburban mother is a cold, calculating killer. At a golf resort in Maryland, fire tears through a guest room. Kim Rico's husband, Steve, is found inside, burnt to death. Prosecutor Robert Dean says it all looks like a terrible accident.
She claimed that he was sloppy drunk and that he wanted to have sex. So she said they got into an argument and she left for a few hours.
Stop it! No!
And she said she drove around and got lost. And that she then returned to the cottage and saw that it was full of smoke. And then she reported the room was on fire.
Steve Rico's best friend, Mike Miller, is called to the scene. His grief turns quickly to suspicion.
They're saying that the fire started because of him carelessly smoking. Steve doesn't smoke. All the years that I've known Steve, I've never seen him smoke a cigarette, a cigar, and he despised being around people that smoked.
Forensic pathologist Janis Amatuzio says the body of every fire victim tells a story.
Stephen's body was found in a fire. The major question for the forensic pathologist is, did he die as a result of the fire or not? When there was no soot in the airways, when there was no damage to the lungs, it suggested that Stephen was dead before the fire started.
Stephen was not drunk that night. The blood test at the autopsy shows that. He was not drunk.
He's such a party pooper. We're away.
The mask of Kim Rico is slipping. Behind it lies a killer.
Was she really capable of doing this? Everybody was saying it, but again, I ignored it and just pushed it back and said she wasn't capable of doing it. And man, was I wrong.
Police follow a lead to Kim's workplace.
Kimberly Rico was what they call a scrub tech. She worked in the emergency room of local hospitals in the Washington, D.C. area.
She has access to a very dangerous drug.
She did indicate that she knew how to end her husband's life and that she could actually get her hands on a substance that would kill him.
A deadly substance used by anesthesiologists in emergency and operating rooms. Succinylcholine.
This would be the only logical explanation as to what brought about Stephen Rico's death, because there was nothing else wrong with him. His body organs were in fine shape, there was no trauma. It had to have been this. She had to have carried through her plan. She snuck up and attacked him with a hypodermic syringe, knowing full well that the burning of the body would cover up any puncture wound.
Succinylcholine is a fast, lethal drug with a terrifying twist.
This agent just simply causes paralysis. It does not alter your level of consciousness.
It basically suffocates you as the paralyzing agent, so he would have maintained consciousness while he was suffocating.
I really wonder what Stephen must have felt when he realized he couldn't move. Panic, I imagine. There is no way that succinylcholine can paralyze terror.
Kim Rico thinks she has planned the perfect crime.
One of the things that I see in almost every case of premeditated spousal murder, where the killer is above average intelligence, is arrogance. And the arrogance they have makes them do stupid things.
It was clear that this was a staged killing. There were empty beer bottles in the room, and there was a pack of cigars.
The cigars are vital clues. Not only is Steve Rico a non-smoker, they can't start a fire.
There was an investigation as to how a fire like this could have started. And that fire could not have started by the ashes of a cigar.
Prosecutor Robert Dean takes a mass of evidence to trial. Kim Rico is found guilty of murder and jailed for life.
She injected him with succinylcholine and watched him suffocate and lit him on fire. How much colder could it get?
I think one of the saddest things about this story, it really touched me how much her husband truly loved her, didn't want to lose her, and was doing what he could to try to make things better. And she still killed him.
The murder of Steve Rico shatters many lives.
He was a big teddy bear. He just wanted everybody that he loved to be happy and for him to take care of him. And it's sad that he's the one not in the world anymore, and she is.
My best friend, and the fact that he's not here anymore is pretty hard for me to take.
And there is another victim, Steve and Kim's young daughter.
Because of her mother's obsession with this younger man, because of her mother's desire to get herself out of this marriage, this little girl, lost her father and lost her mother too.
Her child is a victim of her crime and is forever going to wonder what side of the family is telling her the truth. Is it true that her mother was unjustly accused? Or is it true that she is a cold, manipulating, calculating murderer?
These deadly women were hiding in plain sight. They looked like anyone, but they were far from normal. Betty Lou Beets was a black widow, luring men with a smile. Instead of divorce, Kim Rico chose murder. While Helen Golay and Olga Rutterschmidt were just little old ladies, helping desperate men to die. You'll never notice them until it's too late. Lurking behind the mask are the coldest killers of all.